Hi everyone, I'm Asia Komarova. I'm part of the group called The Outsiders, and together with Casco Art Institute in Utrecht, we founded the Traveling Farm Museum. And I'm going to tell you the story of, actually the never-ending story of a farm. Somewhere in 2018, we were wandering in our neighborhood. That was, or it's until now Leidsterrein in Utrecht. And there was a lot of construction going on, so at the moment as well. And the farmers were cleaning up, let's say, their farms and moving somewhere else. And so me and my friend Che, that should be here, but is not here, but I talked for her as well. We entered in a farm because, well, there was no barrier, and we decided let's go to see what's going on there. And we talked to the farmer, and he told us that he had a court case with the municipality, gemeente Utrecht, and because he was forced to leave so that the neighborhood would expand, and that he was cleaning up the farm but also moving the animals, so there were some cows and some horses, but the car was coming to pick them up and move them somewhere else. And then we started talking a little bit about the situation, and he told us that he was born in the farm as his father, but because somewhere in the 80s they decided to build housing for around 80,000 people. All the farmers in that area had to move. So he was not the only one, and they had been bought out from the municipality. Only in his case, the municipality had promised a specific amount of budget, but they didn't give it at the end. So there was this farm house that had around 500 years of history, and around it they were building a shopping mall. So it was a bit weird, because a farm without land, it's not a farm, it's just a house. But then it's there for 500 years, so you cannot demolish it, it's a monument. Before that there was a castle, before that there was some nuns washing the clothes for rich people in Utrecht. So there is a lot of history in this building, but then the value of this history was somehow lost by building the shopping mall around it. So we thought we want to occupy this farm until we can, and we agree with the farmer that we can use it. And so we we open the door. I think probably it's very similar to this exhibition. We open the door empty-handed, and we slowly, gradually start to build up things there, inviting all the neighbors, think ecologically together. And anyone that would propose anything would then participate somehow. So we had a shop, we had gardens, some people started to plant hope, brew beer. Then more neighbors were coming with different backgrounds, so we had like a dancing group, and it was a meeting place that was not commercial, and that was needed, and it is until now needed in our neighborhood, because every public space is commercial. It's only about shopping or having a terrace for coffee, but there is not really like somewhere you can just hang out, or like it feels like it's forbidden in a way. And in 2020, the farmer won the case, so we need to leave the farm because now it's been bought by a developer. They're going to build luxury apartments. And we started wondering what to do, because we had a network of people and people with the same needs. So we decided we're going to be mobile. We're going to be a mobile museum, and we need to be a museum of the way of living of the farm. That's why we thought it's important to show to people, not to forget who we are, how to live in a way seasonally, so in the winter a bit more chill, and then spring start to work, summer work harder, and in autumn harvest, and food preservation, all these kind of, let's say, natural form of living, more human, so people in the neighborhood would not forget by just going to the supermarket, let's say, to buy food and come back to work on the computer. And then we decided with our mobile installation to visit the only active farmers existing in the area, and people could follow us. So we took an old bread bike, so also not so many years ago there were these bikes going in the neighborhoods with brood banket and gebak or something like that, and then people would just open the bike and there is bread in it. So we put some art, some books, some food, and then every Saturday we would make a tour, so people would join us. For example, one of the first was a food forest in the neighborhood, and it's a very nice, dynamic group, because we would have art students coming, but also some neighbors, some people that are interested in different way of food accessibility, also the friends of the farmers. So there's this dialogue of like people that would not usually come together, and we thought it felt right. It felt good. So we visited. We are not like super selective, but we try to visit the farmers that are a bit in transition. So food forest, like a big garden. It's called Moestown, but it's actually huge. From old castle. So it used to serve a castle, but then now it's for everybody that's part of the garden can also have food. A dairy farmer that decided to be smaller and rent half of his space to artists for ateliers. Why not? And sells his meat on Instagram. So you can buy a leg, for example, from him, or like also what you would not have in the supermarket, right? All the parts of the animal. Somebody that is working for Campina but want to downscale and has built a milk tap, so people can go and take milk, and he sells milk that Campina doesn't sell, so pure, let's say the one that gives you the white mustache, and etc. So we spent the whole summer visiting the farmers, and we actually realized that we sort of built a school for ourselves, because by doing these trips we learned a lot of things that we didn't know if we would just stay in the city and imagine farming instead of going to the farmers. And then some extra activities we did as well was to invite I think it's called ornithologist, somebody that knows about birds. And we built another mobile installation, so also we didn't know that the birds existing in urban / rural areas are specific birds, that they are just reacting to the landscape that the man builds in a way, so it's not like nature. And so we name those birds, we make them a form, and then we transform them in a mobile installation. And we went into the landscape to try to spot the birds. Also very interesting, because of course, like you would not do this normally. So we produce food. I brought some kimchi and some beer. And I think, yeah, more or less that's it. We are a group of people, we are around 8. We want to continue this year. We got some financial support by Leader, which I have to name, of course, which is not an artistic fund, but it's an agricultural fund. But if you think culture, agriculture, then it all makes sense. But somehow the fund thinks it's necessary that artists get busy with transition and food, so that more people from the city are able to see other possibilities in their lives. And of course we would like to have a fixed spot for the museum, because slowly we are collecting things. And of course we would like to have a farm, but that's big dreaming. Maybe we, I don't know, unite the 8 of us and buy a farm and make a school there, but we don't know yet. So we just work with the flow.
Yeah, I'm a bit thinking about like how you perceive yourselves, like as you talk about the agriculture and the culture and artistic practice, and then you have like these different things. So now you're like traveling, and then maybe you want to be fixed, but I'm a bit like in the how you perceive yourself, and is it more than like a school of learning or unlearning? It's like, oh, no, that's another question.
Yeah. No, I think I understand what you mean. I perceive myself as a group, so therefore I know we need time.
Yeah.
Because all of us have different skills. Well, I have an education in art, but I'm also a chef. Che, she's an architect. Miro, she's a pedagogist. And then we have a sound designer. We have Leo. That is we call him the activator of the museum, an educator. So because we are also different, we need constant moments where we come together and see what we want to achieve, or what are we actually doing. I think it was perfect to have the museum in 2020, because all the museums were closed, but we could be open because we were in public space or in open space. So we actually are breaking some fixed ideas about what a museum should be. And we are doing by learning, so learning by doing.
But also by being in public space, you can also like, it's way more accessible for passengers to become a part of it as well, because it is also so much about inhabitants of the city and how things move around.
Yeah, we have many different ways of perceiving the museum as well. Like the first visit we did, a farmer came to visit, so they saw that we are active, and then the farmers came, and for us was a compliment, because somehow it was clear to them what we were doing. And it breaks a lot of also how do you say this, like preconception of what a farmer is, because then if you think how others are and you don't know them, then you don't break the walls in a way, right? So to be small and mobile makes us more accessible, right?
Well, I'm just curious, maybe you started talking about it, how the people that you approach, the farmers, so, I mean, how do they react? Do they understand your concept, and what do they get out of the whole process?
They understand completely, I think even better than art students, because we are used to be taught that art is in that way, right? And then when it's a bit different, trained artist has more difficulties to, or even press, how they cover an exhibition. They would get an invitation, and then there is an opening, and then they would come, and then they would write about something like this. But then a tour, it's very difficult to perceive as an exhibition, right? And for farmers, it's not such a blockage, you know. They understand. Oh, that's a nice mobile museum, you know. It's here on my terrain, and I have visitors, and I usually don't do this, but I do it today. Why not? And then they go with milk around, you know, or some vegetables. Yeah.
But then in that sense, the collective is way bigger. Because for these days, the farmers also become more part of the collective in some extent, or not?
Yeah, definitely. And would you consider community building as one of the aims of the museum? Connecting people, because there is a lot of new housing, and those people are connected to the farmers.
Yeah.
Does there grow something?
Yeah, I think community building for sure, like surely, but also for us as a group, we have also different ideas. So for me, it's very important to break this separation between urban and rural. I think it's very healthy as a chef that and an artist that the rural goes into the city and the city. So there's this, and I think for Che as an architect, she's also interested in that. And so all of us has a different view about what kind of community, or you know, which way are we reaching? Are we giving our message? Yeah, yeah. So for some people, they need to see products like beer or food. For some people, just a bike tour. It's a new like lifestyle. So they think, oh, why didn't I do this before? It's actually here at the corner, but I go the other way, you know. So it depends. And everybody has a different reaction to the moment. Also, myself, when I go home after a tour, it's a lot of to process. Yeah, because, well, I'm getting a bit out of, but I think many people think, oh, when I'm going to be old, I'm going to retire and I'm going to buy a house somewhere and going to work in the land. But then you have this moment in the land and you see how hard is it. And then you start to think, oh, maybe I'm very comfortable how I am, and maybe, you know. So, yeah.
Like, how do you, as a, or the artistic side of the group, make this life accessible for the people, the farm life accessible for the people living around it?
Well, we do the tours. We organize the tours. We also are at the moment bringing some children. So we also go to schools, and we ask children to, when they come back from a farm tour, to make some videos, for example, or to make some collages. Mm-hmm. So in that way, it's more like a collection, you know, what you take back from a tour. And
so they can show it to their parents.
Yeah, or to themselves. Yeah.
So they make a product out of it, sort of, in an artistic way.
Yeah, but it's also not necessarily. Yeah, I think the fact that you move some thoughts, it's already enough. It helps you to think in another direction.